Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of BC Buckets. I'm Matthew Brune. Joining me once again is Colin Mitchell. Colin, today we got a pair of really fun and exciting wings. KyShawn George from Miami and Johnny Furphy from Kansas. Two freshmen who, how would you describe them? Have a lot of upside?
Frothing at the mouth at the amount of excitement from these two players, Bruni. I cannot. Yeah, I mean, we got a guy that averaged 9 points a game, and another guy that
Average
can only
7.5.
shoot threes. So yeah, 7.5. I cannot wait.
Two of the lowest usage players I think we will do a video on.
Yes.
Both at around 17% usage. Furphy, 7% assist rate. At least George was at 16% assist rate, but he also had 22 turnover rate. Very projectable players, right? Like that's what you have to sell for both of them. Furphy is higher on most boards, I think. Somewhere in like the mid early 20s. George, I think, is late 20s, if not 30s, like the second round potentially. I actually left higher on George though than Furphy. And I know you are lower on George than Furphy, so we can have a nice little back and forth.
This is good. We've been agreeing too much this year.
We're too agreeable. So now we get to go at it with KyShawn George and Johnny Furphy. I think George. The reason why I think George is better, and I actually do think he's like substantially better. On my I think he's like 81. Furphy's like 79 to me. So like,
I got KyShawn George at a 77.
Whoo. Okay, so George to me, I think the shooting is there, right? 40% 3-point shooter, 78% from the line. Took some tough ones, right? Some deep ones off the bounce.
Yep.
But more so than that, he had the ball in his hands a lot more than Johnny Furphy. And that gives me a lot of comfort if I'm drafting a player in the late 20s, early 30s, is this guy at least has the ability to be a playmaker, like to see the court, to do things off the bounce, whereas Johnny Furphy did none of those things. Johnny Furphy sat in a corner, sat on the wing, and waited for Hunter Dickinson to get double teamed and to kick it out to him to shoot a three, which he only shot 122 threes all year, Johnny Furphy did. And only shot 35% on those threes. Most of them were wide open. So it's like, I struggle to see how Johnny Furphy projects. Like, I was higher on Grady Dick and Jet Howard than I am on Johnny Furphy. And I didn't like either one of those guys as prospects last year. So George, to summarize, better ball handler, better creator, better, honestly, maybe a better shooter at this point, at least on the move and off the dribble. So that's why I'm buying KyShawn George.
KyShawn George has one skill, and that is shooting the ball. I will give you that. 40%, great, amazing, incredible. He has good physicals, 6'8", 6'10" wingspan. We are looking great, amazing, incredible. I cannot get over the rim scoring. There's nothing you can do to convince me. It's Jet Howard. That's exactly who this player is. I didn't think of it until you brought up his name just now. Yeah. Jet Howard was a knockdown shooter in a lot more ways than KyShawn George is.
Yeah.
And KyShawn George only converted 24 shots at the rim in 31 games. 24. Yeah. And that's with a free throw rate of 0.142.
I didn't see that number.
I mean, it's brutal. It's really brutal. And when you're shooting 40% from three, but you're only shooting 42.6% from the field, it really gives me cause for the concern. Now, I will say the upside, like I know what people are seeing, right? Like you see the shiftiness, you see the movement whenever he has the ball in his hands. It looks really promising. But everything to me says upside. Nothing to me says anything solid. And we can say that he's a really good shooter, but there's 5 other shooters I can name in this draft that are better. And he's a freshman who's 20 and a half years old at draft time. I mean, I don't see it. I see, like, I'm really glad you brought up Jet Howard. I see Jet Howard.
I see. Okay, what about Furphy then do you buy a little bit more?
Furphy for me is a guy that I think is actually pretty safe.
Okay.
like a safe pick. Now, he's not going to be a high pick. I don't think he has a high potential or anything like that, but I think he's a guy that will come in, shoot, kind of be, you know what he reminds me of? Not in terms of exactly the player, but how I thought of Christian Braun coming into the draft. Now, I think he went in the second round. I think I had him.
No, I think Brown went 29, 30.
Did he? Okay. Well, I don't remember where I had him on my board that year,
Yeah.
but same type of thing where he's going to be kind of do-it-all player that'll shoot some threes. He's obviously not as athletic, but he can finish. Can get up in the air off 2 feet and dunk the ball. Runs in transition, like patient, tough defender. And those are things that I cannot say for KyShawn George. Now, I will give you, in terms of statistics, he's a way better shooter, but he's also gets the line at a .393 rate instead of a .142 and actually finishes. And I mean, if we're looking at players in the late first round, that's where, like, I'm looking for a role player. And KyShawn George, when you're that late in the draft and you're looking for a guy with really high upside, I think you're just reaching for a lot of the times for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but I will give you, he's not going to create a shot. Furphy's not. He's not super quick.
No.
But you're not going to get that this late in the draft. You're just not going to get that. You're looking for a role player that's going to make winning plays, and I think that Furphy does a lot more of that than KyShawn George.
I don't like neither one. I think is a defensively. I don't think either one is a plus defender, or even like I'm not even sure they're neutral defenders. Honestly, George needs to get stronger, and he's like a full year older than Furphy, so that is part of that is a concerning thing. Is at least with like Christian Braun, to your point, is you were getting like defense, toughness, shooting, like those things from him. You're not really getting that, I don't think, from either one of these guys. The main thing with Furphy that bothers me is 122 threes last year. I would venture to say, and I have access to Synergy, so I should have looked this up, but I would venture to say more than half of them were wide open.
That's great.
At least very open. And he shot 35 freaking percent.
Can finish at the rim.
So if he can't shoot, what is the point?
If he's
not shooting 40% or close to 40% from three in his career, he is not touching an NBA court. He's not getting on the court for his defense, playmaking, dribbling the basketball, anything else. So he's not getting on the court. This guy should not be a first-round draft pick, Johnny Furphy. I don't see it. Like, the only thing I like about him is his size and his effort. Like, that's it. I think he's 6'8", and I honestly think he could fill out like pretty nicely to be really tough and like kind of a versatile-ish wing in terms of like his frame. But other than that, if he doesn't shoot, we're not talking about him in 3 years at all.
I buy the shooting.
So I'm just buying George's scoring upside, and I'm buying his overall just playmaking feel a little bit more. And I'm going to take that to the bank and run with it.
Okay.
What
are your comps?
KyShawn George, I have two, and I like them both. Rodney Hood.
What a name. Blast from the past.
Rodney Hood and Julian Champagnie from the Spurs. So those are my two for I do have written down for him to stick like long term and have a long career, he has to be good defensively, better defensively. And I think he has some tools to do it, but like he has to get there. And I think that's the case with both these guys. It's who's going to be a decent defender to stay on the court to get these shots, because they're not elite scorers. So who's going to be the good defender there? Like I said, I'd buy George's offense a little bit more, but he still has to be a good.
I still don't get the offense. He shot nothing at the rim. Nothing. Scared. Terrified.
At least he dribbled the basketball. Like Furphy probably dribbled the basketball 60 times all year.
Didn't have to dribble the basketball.
Yeah, he just stood there, said, "Hey, I'm open. Pass it to me."
And then ran in transition.
And then he'd shoot it, and he shot 35% on those shots.
We need to make a bet on who's in the league in 3 years.
Go ahead.
It's not
comps for Furphy. I have Chetty Osman.
That's a funny comp, actually. I have Chetty Osman.
Chetty Osman's a sniper, though. I will not disrespect Chetty Osman. He's the only one helping out Wemby this year.
Wow. He's on the Spurs. I had no idea.
Yes, he is. Shot the hell out the ball.
That's crazy. Cleveland Cavalier, great.
Yeah,
Chetty Osman. Anyways, I have for George, I have Cam Johnson. I think he's more skilled than Cam Johnson, but I think that's a role that he could fill. For Furphy, I got Doug McBuckets.
I thought about that, but then I thought about how good of a shooter Doug McDermott was out of college and just how he does everything
late bloomer Johnny Furphy.
Everything better than Johnny Furphy on a basketball court. And I was like, I can't get there with Doug McDermott.
I just think that's the type of player.
Maybe. I also thought about Bojan Bogdanovic, the older looking one, not the younger one.
The older one's cold.
I wrote parentheses ceiling. So, which would be a great ceiling.
That's an incredible ceiling.
But I'm like, Bojan Bogdanovic.
Pistons #1 leading scorer last year.
Yeah, now he plays for the Knicks. So, just like everybody, he got away from the Pistons. All right. That's what we got for y'all today. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Leave us a like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will talk to y'all later.